I'm going to ask Dusty Nichols to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome all to the August 28th, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who serves as vice chair and represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning and welcome, everybody.
Good morning.
First item, please.
First item is item 2, unfinished business. Number 1, consider approval of request to award the proposal for the operation, management, and/or ownership of the Abbott Community Center.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This item's been for you a couple of times. In fact, August the 14th, we had 5 respondents to our RFP all come down and make presentations to the Commissioners. At that meeting, it was relayed to them that you were going to make a decision of who to negotiate with for a contract or what the future of the Abbott Center would be. That's what's before you this morning. I can give you guys some more background if you need it, but I think maybe we've already been through that a couple times, but be happy to add some if you need some.
I think it would be helpful to, again, go over the alternatives that we had, the 3 that you had mentioned in your memorandum.
Okay. You can sell the property outright. You could accept a proposal or several proposals and send us off to negotiate a contract to operate those community centers, or you can reject all of the proposals and close the facility.
Okay. And I think it was pretty clear that we're not going to do number 1 or number 3 at this point. Commissioner Cook?
Commissioners, after due diligence and research and much thought, I've really come down to 2. All 5 are very good. All 5 are reflective of the community. All 5, I think, would do well in the community. But for me, the final 2 I've kind of come down to would be the Boys and Girls Club or the True Foundation with Reverend Sweet. I think those are really the 2 that stand out to me. The holdback that I have with Reverend Sweet's proposal is once we've sold the facility, it is sold forever. And that's always a concern, and making sure that the needs of the community are heard. Not that I think that Reverend Sweet wouldn't be able to do an excellent job. He has an excellent reputation in the community. The work that he's done in renovating the East Topeka Junior High is to be commended. If you have not had an opportunity to walk inside the facility, I would ask that you do so. It looks like it is almost brand new with some updates. He should be very commended for the work that he's done there. But the one that stands out for me is the Boys and Girls Club. When they look at the reputation they have, not just with the Adams Center, but also with North Topeka, working with the youth of the community. And the youth is really what stood out as being the request from the listening from the neighborhoods, is that they wanted to see something really focused on the youth. And for me, the Boys and Girls Club stood out. I think that what I would like this to look at is maybe a year contract to see where we're at the end of the year, and see where Boys and Girls Club is at the end of the year. But those are really the 2 that stood out for me.
Any thoughts, Commissioner?
No, pretty much the same thing. On the line of selling the center, your point is once it's sold, then it's sold. I've a little bit of concern there, but yes, after looking at them in great detail, Boys and Girls Club was what kind of rose to the top for me as well. And I think just a proven record of involvement and programming in the community for youth.
And I agree. It's a very tough decision. 5 solid proposals, but to sell the facility, we lose control. And that's my main concern. So I will Unless you want to make a
No.
motion. Go
I-
ahead, Commissioner.
I would make a motion at this time that we extend to the Boys and Girls Club the ability to negotiate with Parks and Recreation for the operation of the Abbott Community Center. And I think that would be our action at this point, is that we're extending them the authority to negotiate with Boys and Girls Club. Obviously, if they can't reach acceptable terms, the matter would come back before the commission.
When you were talking earlier, Commissioner, you also said something about a 1 year. Are there some kind of restrictions on that? An end to this where they take ownership of the building? I don't know what you were talking about.
If during the course of negotiations, if the long-term operation of the building comes up, I think that if you would advise the commission
Okay.
in due course. But at this point, I think that it's time to start the negotiation process with the Boys and Girls Club, and that would be my motion.
And I'll second that with the understanding that this is a 1-year horizon. That it's similar to what we did with Helen Hocker Theater. And we looked for performance from Topeka Civic Theater in running Helen Hocker. And I think we'll do the same thing from the Boys and Girls Club and managing the.
Forbes Golf Course as well was under a similar type situation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll second that motion. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
I'll keep you informed, Commissioner.
Please do, John. Next item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Are there questions or comments?
I do not have any.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller to approve the consent agenda as presented, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $4,721,894.47. Out of those, $3,734,452 are payments for our COP bonds or debt. Out of that, $2,875,066 are general fund debt. $859,386 are debt related to the 911. Initially, I had some concern regarding the amount of the debt that it looks like we're making a payment on. But in speaking with our audit finance director, she's informed me that our debt ratio is about 8%, which is really relatively low. I mean, obviously, if we can always have debt go lower, that's admirable, but that we do have a low amount of debt in consideration for what the recommendations are. The remainder, we do have infrastructure payments of $352,756, a bridge payment for $65,600, holding accounts with the state of Kansas for $63,426, and payments for new trash cans with solid waste of $45,456. I don't see any issue with the vouchers. I would move for their approval.
I'll second that and also note that the level of debt that Shawnee County has is very well managed. As far as levels, trends, and comparisons, we are in very good standing as far as our debt. Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
Oh, we have them.
They just kind of come up here. We're
Okay.
Okay, move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, coroner. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-294-2014 with Dr. Robert Prosser to provide coverage for the coroner's office at a cost of $65 per day.
Morning. This is a contract for,
Doctor, would you
excuse me.
identify
Yeah,
yourself,
excuse
just
me.
for the
I'm
record?
Dr. Glenn, I'm the coroner for Shawnee County. And this contract in front of you is to provide coverage for when I'm not in town, essentially. And what that means is appointing a deputy coroner. The person that is listed on that contract will probably not be the only deputy coroner, but for now, it will meet our needs. And he's an experienced physician. He's an emergency room physician. And he's been the coroner of Johnson County, Kansas for approximately 15 years. He's dealt with all the issues that a coroner has dealt with during that time. And that's why I think it's a good choice. Again, I just want to clarify, he's not a pathologist. He will not be performing autopsies or fulfilling those roles. He basically will be answering phone calls and approving cremations and taking care of some of the administrative tasks while I'm gone. And truthfully, I'll probably be on the phone doing a lot of it myself, but it enables me to be on an airplane, for instance.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the contract and note that this was included in the budget for the coroner's office. So,
Yep. Second.
motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Doctor. Next, please.
Item C, District Attorney, number 1, consider approval of request to apply for renewal of the Federal Victims of Crime Act grant from the Kansas Governor's Grant Program in the amount of $64,754 with a cash match of $14,531.
Is there anyone here from, oh, there we go.
I'm Lee McGowan. I work with the DA's office. We gave you a memorandum. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them.
I don't have any questions regarding the grant application. I would move for approval of it.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller to approve the request to apply for the grant. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next.
Item D, Register of Deeds, number 1, consider approval of a request to transfer $40,000 from the Register of Deeds Technology Fund to the Land Records Fund, and to make a second annual payment of $127,668.05 on the new tax software from the Land Records Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi, Register of Deeds. This request is twofold. First of all, I'm asking that excess technology funds from the Register of Deeds Technology Fund be transferred to the Land Records Fund in the amount of $40,000. Statute allows me to transfer any excess money, and these are, by statute, tech funds can only be used for technological funds in my office, but if they're excess, I can transfer for other land-related offices. Second of all, the second payment in the amount of $127,668.05 to be used for the second annual CIC tech software payment that is used by several offices in the county. So.
Okay. Questions or comments for the Register of Deeds?
I do not have any questions.
Don't have any either, just thank you for your cooperation.
Yep. Thank you very much.
appreciated.
I'll make a
You're welcome.
motion to approve the transfer request and the payment on the tax software.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you again, Becky. Next.
Item E, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider awarding bid for the purchase of grass seed and fertilizer in a total amount of $71,840.85.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks, Recreation, and Land Issues. I'm trying real hard to figure out a way grass seed could fit into this technology fund. I can't think of one. Earlier this year, Commissioners, you gave us permission to go out and solicit bids for many items that we knew we were going to need. Well, Parks and Recreation went out and solicited bids for grass seed and fertilizer. You have before you what we got back for the results of that. When those bids come back in, Kerry Golden and Terry Bird will sit down and thoroughly go through those to make sure that we get the appropriate grass seed, fertilizer, that all the bids meet those specifications. If you have any questions, Kerry is here and can answer some of those questions. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have that are not grass seed or fertilizer related.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Knight?
Commissioner, I'm sure there's a joke about fertilizer somewhere in there, but raising us to a higher bar, I would move for approval of the two purchases.
Second.
Okay. Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C 295-2014 for a 7 photocopier system at an annual cost of $2,924.10.
Commissioners, if you'll recall, about this time last year or early this year, we reduced several of our copier contracts. We've done some changing and moving some staff around and the functions around, and staff has met with Michelle with purchasing, and they've come up and they'd like to upgrade one of their copiers at their computer for the functions that they go through at the Oakland Center. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the contract, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Those say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, please.
Item F, Health Agency, number 1, consider approval of request to submit a grant application for the state fiscal year 2015 capital improvement grant funding from the Kansas Association for the Medically Underserved for $5,000 with a required match of $5,344 of program income for HIT project equipment enhancement for electronic medical records.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency. Every year, the state government allocates funds to our State Primary Care Association for community health centers in the state to apply for capital improvement grant funding. And so this is our application for a portion of that funding to support a project that we started a couple years ago where we mounted our electronic medical record computers in 2 of our 3 buildings. We didn't do the main building at that time because we thought we would be moving. Since we are no longer moving, we're looking to complete that project, and we thought we would pursue some grant dollars to try to accomplish that. And so that's what this application is for. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Questions or comments for Alice?
I don't. I would move for approval of the grant application.
Second.
Motion made to approve the grant application by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item F2, consider approval of fee schedule for medical providers resources for expanded provider and billing credentialing services.
Commissioners, this request is to use the fee schedule for NPR for some additional services that we would like to utilize them for. When we hire clinicians, we have to do a pretty extensive background check. We're already providing them with the resources and the information to do that, and so so we want to go ahead and just have them take care of that step while they're already going through the insurance credentialing process for us as well. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Questions, comment, or motion?
Motion to accept the fee schedule from NPR for centralized verification services.
Second.
Motion made to approve the fee schedule by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Alice.
Commissioners.
Next item, please.
Item G, Audit Finance, number 1, update on revenues and expenditures.
Good morning, Betty Greiner, Financial Administrator. I will start out by saying, as I usually do, that I'm going to give you a snapshot view of our financial overview as of July 31st. We will start by looking at our total revenue. If you look at our year-to-date numbers, the amount that we have received in total revenue through July 31st is $89,241,854 compared to our budget year-to-date, and this is what I had budgeted just for the same time period, of $85,219,983. So you can see by this that as a total, we are over budget by $4,012,000 $21,871. And you may say, how could we possibly be $4 million over budget? So I thought I would go just tell you the broad categories and what make that up. First of all, we have additional ad valorem tax that we've received, which means less delinquencies in an amount of $1,400,000, and these are just kind of rounded numbers. We've received 2 payments for bond defeasance this year, which total about $1 million. We've had a clawback of $500,000. We've had additional motor vehicle tax of $600,000, which was just a state underestimate. Then we've had additional mortgage registration fees of $160,000. We received a payment from motor vehicle for their prior year balance of $200,000, and then miscellaneous of $140,000. So that brings us up to the $4 million. So it kind of gives you an idea of where those dollars come from. If you look at just for the month of July, we are over budget just for the month of July of $644,000. And most of that comes from a defeasance payment that we received in the month of July. So those are one-time things, and those are coming to an end.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at this chart, you can see that the vast majority of our revenue comes from the property taxes. That is the blue area. And then the red area is special assessments. The green is other taxes. The little purple there are property-related fees. The blue is charges for services, and then the orange is miscellaneous revenue. So then I'll look at each of those categories individually. If you look at our property tax, this is the one that I said is actually it's $1,394,000 over budget for the year. And that has not changed since last month because we did not receive a tax distribution during the month of July. And it's the same situation with the special assessments. There was no tax distribution during the month, so that remained the same. We are under budget for that one of $365,000. If you look at other taxes, this is over budget by $768,000, and as I mentioned, $600,000 of that is all in motor vehicle tax that was underestimated by the state. If we look at our property-related fees, in this category, we are over budget by $176,000. Most of that is all from additional mortgage registration fees that were higher than budgeted. Sometimes if you have a large mortgage that is registered, that, we can't anticipate those, and so that is what happened there. Our charges for services are a little under budget. We are actually $169,000 under budget in this category. Some of that could very well be timing, because just for the month of July, we were under budget for that of $180,000, which makes up most of that difference. So a lot of this could just be timing issues. I know Parks and Rec was a little bit lower this year than last year at this time, so that might level itself out throughout the rest of the year. And then this is our big difference here. This is our miscellaneous revenue, and this is where we are $2,217,000 over budget by those items that I already mentioned to you. Now if we look at our expenditures, you can tell that our total expenditures, get to my chart here, are $51,359,390 compared to our budget of $52,976,338. So we are $1,616,000 under budget for our year. Now that is very close to the same as it was at the end of June. We are under budget by $49,000 for the month of July. So, $49,000 compared to a budget of $95 million is 0.05%. So basically, for the month of July, we are just right on budget with our expenditures. This next chart here just shows a breakdown of our expenditures by category. And the largest category by far is public safety, judicial, and emergency services, and that is 45% of our expenditures year to date. Public works is 7%. Public health and human services is 11%. Recreation and culture, 19%. Debt service is 3%. That will go up a little bit next month as we had our payment this morning. And then operational services is 15%.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Can I
Commissioner.
ask a question?
Sure.
Going back, recreation and culture includes Parks and Recreation and the Expo Center, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And then also includes the Fair Association. And this chart is just showing the expenditures in a different way, broken down in those same categories. And this shows the blue is the 2014 year-to-date, the red is the budgeted year-to-date, and the green is the 2013. And really what this chart shows us is in every single category, our expenses are below or at what we had budgeted for the year. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions or comments for Betty?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner? Sure.
there are a couple of things that strike me. The first is that in 1 year, we've cut our expenses by $4 million.
Correct.
I think that we've all felt it, and I think that I appreciate all of our department heads for taking into account the expenditures of what's necessary. This didn't happen by just one person or one act. I think this is an across-the-board recognition of trying to be very cognizant of what we're spending the money on, and we can see this reflected on this one chart with a $4 million less in expenditures in 1 year. The second thing that strikes me is public health and human services, right on budget. I mean, to the dollar on budget. And I think that's, very good budgeting, not over, not under, but right where they're supposed to be. But then also, getting back to, we mentioned during vouchers, the debt load. If we look at our debt is the
Right
smallest-
now, year-to-date, it is 3%. That will go up because of our September 1 payments.
But I do get asked, and I think it might be more of a discussion on a federal or state level. It seems that, governments have too much debt. I think that, while I will always say debt is something you should be very leery of, Shawnee County has a very good debt ratio. So,
Absolutely. Commissioner?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, I'll echo what Commissioner Cook was talking about. Yeah, we budgeted very, very tough for 2014, and we're starting to see a payoff. We reduced our expenses, we're adding to our reserves, and we've had some good fortune. The defeasance
Yes.
it was some good fortune for us.
Yes.
But the bottom line is we've made a lot of progress financially over the past year or two, and I'm really happy about it. Okay.
Me too.
Next item, please.
Item G2, 2015 budget at a glance.
Okay, there's a couple items that have been added to our website that I just wanted to go over for you. If you go to our website and under departments, go to audit finance, and then under budget, you will see that we have added the budget summary. This is the worksheet that we used when we were working on the budget that shows each allocation, each department. It shows their 2012 actual expenses, their 2013 actual expenses, the 2014 budget, and the 2015 budget that was approved. So that is out there now. And then what I also wanted to go over with you, I've also added a 2015 budget at a glance. And this just is, for the person that just wants to see an overview, kind of an overview of the budget as it was adopted. This is just some general facts here. It shows the mill levy, the change from the prior year, which was 0. It shows the total assessed property value, the change from the prior year, the estimated revenues, the budgeted expenses, and the change from the prior year. Now this chart goes exactly along with what we were just talking about. This shows the expenditures and the revenue by 2015, 2014, and 2013. And if you look at what was actually budgeted for 2013, the revenue is much lower than the expenditures that were budgeted. In 2014, we changed that, where the estimated revenue was $3 million more than the estimated expenditures. And as you know, we did that to build our reserves back up. And then for 15, again, our revenue is higher than our expenditures. And for this year, it will be by $1 million. So this chart really shows that shift. If you look down in this next category, it's just showing the same categories that we went over for our July financials, but it's the total expenditures that have been budgeted, and it's showing that public safety, judicial, and emergency services will be 44% of the total. Public works is 8%. Public health and human services is 8%. Recreation and culture, 16%. Debt service is 9%. It's 8 point something, but it's 9%. And then operational services is 15%. And I just want to also mention, we're showing debt service as 9%. That is of our general fund. Different municipalities handle their expenses differently. A lot of them have a separate fund for debt service. Ours is part of our general fund. So you cannot necessarily look at others and compare, because you may not be comparing apples to apples. In ours, we have almost everything is in our general fund. That is not the case with a lot of other municipalities. So when I say 9% here, that's 9% of our general fund, which includes pretty much all of our county expenses. Then this down here is just a chart on the revenue, expected revenue. You can see 71% is estimated to come from our property taxes. Then we have let me look at my numbers here a little closer. 13% will be other taxes. That is motor vehicle, RV, alcohol, highway taxes, all of those. Special assessments will be 4%. Property-related fees, we're estimating that to be at 2%. That is mortgage registration fees, filing, zoning fees, those types. Then our charges for services is estimated at 6%. That includes parks and recreation fees, sheriff processing fees, all of the fees with the jail. And then our miscellaneous revenue we estimate to be at 4%. So this is just kind of an easy, hopefully, a way for a taxpayer to look at the expenses of the county or the budget of the county and kind of get a broad view of where the money is being spent and where it's coming in. Any questions on that?
I like the graphs and pie charts. That really does make it easy to understand by the public, and I appreciate that.
One other thing I might show also that has been added out here, if you go under quarterly financial reports, the quarterly financial report for the second quarter for June 30 has also been added out there for the public. And this one has the charts, but it also has a little bit of narrative, explaining some of the revenue items, the expense items.
Okay.
So that is out there also.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item G3, travel report regarding the annual CIC Tax Administration System Symposium in Wichita.
This is an item that our new tax software system with CIC, they have a symposium once a year where they ask their users to come and present items for enhancements to the software that they would think would be advantageous to all the users. And this was our first year with this software. We're still in the conversion process, but are well into it. And so we had people from 4 of our departments that went to represent us for this, from the appraiser's office, the county clerk's office, the treasurer, and the IT department. And what happened is they go and they present their enhancements and why they basically sell it, why they think it would be advantageous. And in this case, all of the ones that we asked for were approved. That will represent approximately 306 hours of programming time, which would equate to $57,800 worth of programming costs. This is just an example of how a small investment, you know, I authorized 1 hotel room per department for 1 night to be paid out of general expenses, and then they used a county vehicle to go to Wichita for this. So for less than $1,000, we were able to get the enhancements for this program. I just think, you know, it's a good example of how we worked together. I mean, 4 departments. Now, I personally did not go. My department, I can't take any credit for this. In fact, I was kind of nominated as chair of the tax software to bring this up to you. But we just really felt like this is a real positive. You know, so many times you hear negatives, and this is a real positive for the county. I think it's an example of how the departments were working together for the good of the county. We just thought you needed to be made aware of that.
Appreciate that.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
And more importantly, Tim needed to be made aware of that.
That's right.
As well as Doug and Rocky. So, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Item 5, administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols, Shawnee County Emergency Management. I just wanted to bring your attention to a kind of a unique event here in Shawnee County this week. Starting at 12 p.m. today, going through 3 p.m. Sunday, the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall will be at the National Guard Museum at 6700 Southwest Topeka Boulevard. It'll be open 24 hours a day while it's here, but at 5 p.m. Saturday, they're going to be reading the names of Kansans killed in action during that conflict. So we also wanted to just kind of say thank you to Shawnee County Sheriff's Office, TPD, the 190th Joint Forces Headquarters, American Legion Post, Riders, and the museum itself for making this an easy planning for this event. So just wanted to let you know.
Very good. Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
Are there others for administrative communications? Commissioner?
Just everybody, as you're traveling, please be safe, take time. No need to rush to get to where you're going. Arrive safe, and so be careful.
Yeah, and thank you. There won't be a meeting on Monday, obviously, and then reminder, and yeah, I encourage people to be safe also. Commissioner Bueller, anything? All right. Next item.
Item 6, executive session.
I don't believe there's a need, so we are adjourned.